What is a fear you've overcome?
I guess getting married. This is Cade. This is Daisy.
This is our video discussion series on YouTube where we kind of let our hair down and just talk about self-development and mindset and choosing love. Today, we wanted to talk about fear. Got a couple like bullet points, but other than that, I just kind of wanted to like get Daisy's input on what she thinks about fear and maybe some ideas on how to deal with it and stuff. I totally think fear is normal and natural to some degree. I think that as kids, we are pretty darn fearless and we kind of learn to become fearful about things. We learn not to touch the hot stove. We learn not to walk out into traffic. But as a kid, we don't know, we don't have that knowledge yet. And so we're pretty darn fearless. And like, for example, Dalen, like when he's running around here, he'll start, jumping off the couch and he doesn't even know what could happen. And so I guess my first question to you is, how do you feel about fear in general?
I think it's something that will stop you from doing things, but it will also be something that will prevent you from dying.
Yeah.
Or it could stop you to like somehow being like successful too. Mm-hmm. It could go like either way.
It can kind of stop our growth and our learning and things like that. What do you think about the fears that are harmful to us, like maybe those irrational fears or just fears that stop us from learning and growing? What are your thoughts on those?
Sometimes fears stop us from doing stuff because we are afraid that we're not gonna achieve the goals, or we're just not gonna be wanting like the willingness, of hey, just try it. And it's just kind of like, to me, just like the anxiety of like, no, but I have a kid and then who's gonna take care of it? But if he's crying, I'm just not gonna be focusing. I'm trying to make it work, having a job and, having the house clean and having a good relationship with my son, you and me. I remember one of my favorite aunt that she always tells me, let it go, let it go, let it go. So
let it go.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of I'm gonna do it. I'm scared, but I'm still gonna do it, So yeah. I do think it's very important.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast recently where he talked about sometimes it can be helpful to just lean into your fears. And there's a quote by Jordan Peterson: when we are exposed to what we're afraid of, we get less afraid of everything. If you work on one fear, you're just naturally going to get better at all your fears and help you become more fearless.
I remember on my first job that, I was 17 and I started working in a phone company, your first job. So I remember having nightmares that they will put me the headset and I was just gonna freeze and I was gonna forget how to talk in English. So one phrase that Mexicans say is that if a donkey already walked through that path, why can't you go through there too? So I thought about that and I was like, if that person can't, like all of these persons that are around me can do it, why I can't? Like I'm not different from them. So I remember just being terrified to just like knowing that the next day it was gonna be my first day in floor and I was gonna be completely alone, not with a partner, because when you're in training they put you together with someone else.
Yeah. And
it was just so terrifying. So I think talking about the fear is just like when I put the headset, it's your job. If you don't work, you're gonna get fired, but you don't want that. So okay, like deep breath and okay, I'm gonna do it. And at the end of the day, when I clock out, I was like, I did it. Yes. I did it. And I just not do one call. I work my 8 hours of calls. So yes, I can. Am I gonna do mistakes? Yes, of course. Am I gonna get in trouble sometimes? The processes sometimes changes. Yeah, it's just a matter of, like someone push you sometimes. And it could be a friend, it could be a family member that sometimes we just need a little bit of push, or just seeing your pet. Like, if I don't work, if I don't do this, if I don't get better, my pet is gonna starve, and I don't want that. So I better go out and just like push myself. When you're so scared to do something and someone push you, like through the cliff or over the cliff.
Like off the cliff or over the cliff, yeah.
Off the cliff, and you don't die, and then you find that thing very, like, you find that very entertained, It's just kind of like weird when you're just so scared to even like have an interview, and as soon as you get out, you're like, whew, and then you get hired, and then you're just like, I did it. I just needed like the push,
Yeah, totally. I've totally experienced that where like I will have something kind of like scary to do, like an interview or something, or just, public speaking. And if I do something that scares me before that, it helps me with the actual thing that I need to do. So it's like, how can I just start facing my fears so that, it counts for the real thing? I think it's interesting that a little bit of fear can be strangely like fun. And because like, if you think about it, we've got like haunted houses, we've got scary movies, we've got like roller coasters and bungee jumping and skydiving, things like that. And that's like a way for us to like get those feelings that go to the brain, but still know deep down inside that we're still okay. So it's like kind of going halfway on it.
You can die, it's just like 1% of 100 of possibilities that you can die, but you still take it because it's so much fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like during a scary movie or something, there's a lot of times where I'm like, why am I putting myself through this? But at the same time, every now and then I kind of crave that rush, I guess, of a scary movie. Okay, so I've got some rapid fire questions for you about fear. Who is the most fearless person you know?
And maybe my sister, Peque.
That's a good one.
That she's very young and she still doesn't know what could possibly go wrong. Because when you're young, you're just not thinking on that. You're just like, let it be. Let it be.
But is that a bad thing? I don't think that's a bad thing. Like to some degree.
Yeah, it's not bad, but then in life, you start having like certain responsibilities that you're like, I can't risk it. Like I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. And you get to a point where you're just trying to think what's the best for your family or for your dog or whatever.
That's fair. So, yeah. Do you think someone can be fearful and still be happy?
No.
Oh, hot take. Why not?
Not very much, because then you're just gonna be like in your bubble and in your comfort zone, trying to be there all the time, and you're just not gonna go outside and explore the world. Depending on what is your fear, I think it is just trapping you there.
Yeah, I totally agree. It stops us from, like I said, having personal growth and having experiences, and that's like what life's all about. So I totally agree.
Of course you agree.
If you feel like sharing, what is an irrational fear that you have?
It's not irrational. It's pretty real. It's global warming. Okay. But I think that's something that I cannot control. Yeah. So it might be a partner of irrational.
You could buy a Tesla. That'd save the world.
Sure, but you need electricity to charge the Tesla, and where do you think the electricity comes from?
Great point. I would say an irrational fear for me is actually the thought of getting into a hot air balloon really scares me because I've never had that experience yet, and I just feel like the balloon material is made of something like pretty thin, not like an actual like rubber balloon, but something kind of thin that like, what if somebody shot the balloon? I don't know, like I once saw a balloon that was trying to be filled up and it popped while it was on the ground. Like not everyone was fine. It was just when they started to like have it raise up and it popped and it like really, I think that's probably where I got scared of it. Yeah, maybe if I like feel the material and stuff, but right now the thought of getting in a hot air balloon like really scares me. Like maybe if I had a parachute on too, but.
So you think that fear comes from something that you could possibly saw or hear, and that's how like some either traumas came? Because I got one.
Just to answer your question, I think sometimes, I don't think all the time, because I think there's some things that we just are naturally more fearful of. But I do think that some fears can be learned if we see it happen, or, you know, but go ahead.
One time I was in the patio of my house, and just, you know, like it was wide open. So this huge cockroach just went straight to my hair. And since then, I've been very scared of cockroaches.
So, is that when it all started?
Yeah. They just fly straight at my hair. And
they've got a vendetta against you.
I have long hair, and you know it's pretty thick, so they get trapped, and then you feel like those. I can feel like through my spine.
Like tinglies. See, I've had the opposite experience with cockroaches. Ever since the movie WALL-E came out, where there's that little cockroach that's so nice and cute, I think cockroaches are kind of cute. So I've never had a bad experience, like where it got stuck in my clothes or something. And maybe if I do that, then I won't think they're so cute. But cockroaches really don't bother me.
Cool. What about spiders?
But spiders bother like 75% of the Earth's population too. That's an actual 60% of the time. Spiders scare people 75% of the time.
That sounds zero true.
Okay. Next. What is a fear you've overcome?
I guess getting married.
Oh,
I was very scared to get married and get bored pretty fast, and then just, you know, like having a compromise with someone and myself, you know, and just like I've been pretty happy actually. You're a good friend.
So follow-up question. Did you get bored really fast?
No.
Okay.
No.
For me, real quick, a fear that I've overcome is interviewing for a job. I've had so many in my life that I actually think it's pretty fun to interview for a job. And I kind of like relish it a little bit because I like to connect with the person, and I like to, I don't know, just have a good discussion with them about my experiences, and I just find it fun. And for the most part, I've had an interview with a room full of people, like 7 or 8 people, and there was something that clicked inside me, probably kind of like a fight or flight response, where I was just like, okay, like I am not backing down in front of, like, you know, like emotionally, I guess. It's just like, no, I'm gonna give it my best, and like something switched inside me, and I think that's probably what like cured me, because now just interviewing like with 1 or 2 people just seems like a breeze.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Something I learned when I was interviewing for a job in the past was I think I was like looking up videos on like how to do a good job interviewing and stuff. And something that stuck with me for a long time is that we can specifically make ourselves bigger, like power poses and like, you know, flexing our muscles. And it's kind of like a natural thing that like animals do in the wild and stuff too, to show that they're like dominant and strong or whatever. And that physiological response in us works too, to have us feel courage and have us feel this bolt of like energy, I guess. That's something that I'll do before I do something that scares me, is I'll take like 2 minutes and I'll just like put my arms up like this, or even on your like hips like this, and just get bigger. It could be like this, and within 2 minutes your brain is already feeling more pumped up and ready to go. So what's your number one advice for managing fear?
I guess just talking about it.
Okay. Just talking about the scary thing?
Yeah, just like, hey, I'm very scared of an interview. I'm very scared. And I guess talking with someone could help like filter a little bit, you know, like what if that person comes up with like, hey, why don't you practice with me? And then you kind of like take it out. And if you have like a best friend or someone that can just like compromise with, not compromise, like associate with you, like hey, I'm very scared to jump in the bungee. Could you go all the way up with me and just push me? Oof. And you know, like
that would not help me.
to me, that will be kind of like a solution.
Okay, so like a partner or someone to kind of experience as much as they can with you or something.
I don't think it's a solution, because at the end we all gotta learn a little bit just how to push ourselves. That's what I think.
No, yeah, I totally agree with that. Something else that came to mind is, for me, sometimes I'll imagine myself with like how well something went afterwards. So like if I know I have to do something scary, like let's say drive in the rain, like I don't really like to drive in the rain at night. Something I'll imagine is just like, oh, I'm so happy and grateful that so I guess a little bit of manifesting is like, so happy and grateful that we got to our destination and everything went well, and I was able to kind of envision myself after the fact and how happy I was after. And then so hopefully kind of have our reality match what we're manifesting. So. And the last question is for you guys, dear watchers. What is something that you would do if you knew that there was no chance in failing, there was no fear involved? What is something that you have always wanted to do or that comes to mind? Let us know down in the comments. Be well, guys. We will catch you next time.
Bye.